Nerd Central Continued, Nerd Central's pseudo after show. Let's go straight to the next installments of Digital Dreams Anime Academy taking a bite in Scary Movie 101.
Hello and welcome back to Digital Dreams. I'm Devin Vincent. This week we're talking about my favorite season of Digimon, Digimon Cross Wars. Nickelodeon dubbed the show as Digimon Fusion in America, and while I loved the aesthetic of the promotional art, it was heavily censored and, at least in my opinion, the writing was butchered, so this is the point where I'll switch to using Japanese names for the most part. One of the ways this season is unique is that the characters are no longer limited to one partner Digimon. They do have sort of a signature player, but it's more about having a team captain or a best friend than it is about having a destined counterpart. This is due to the fact that the conflict in Cross Wars is explicitly described as that, a war. In the past, main characters of the series have acted like freedom fighters, ambassadors, fugitives, and even as a sort of police, but never has the series explicitly pitted discernible clans against each other. As such, instead of chosen children, tamers, or warriors, this season's humans are called generals, and they spend a good portion of their time recruiting soldiers for their army. The conflict is between four teams. Taiki, a big-hearted 7th grader who frequently overexerts himself due to his inability to say no to a person in need, heads Team Crossheart with his friend Shoutmon, a spunky young prodigy that dreams of becoming king. His classmates Akari and Zenjiro are also part of Crossheart, but serve as supporting characters as they lack this season's Digivice, the Crossloader. The villain of the series is introduced almost immediately in the Bagra army. The army is headed by 3 generals, but its true leader is a Digimon named Bagramon. In addition, there's an army called Blue Flare, headed by the cold-hearted orphan Kiriha, and a mysterious group called Twilight, led by a girl named Nene. It's Greymon's turn to get a redesign, looking quite a bit like Metal Greymon's virus-type variant, to fit the Blue Flare theme. Metal Greymon, meanwhile, is more of a cyborg than ever. Nene's partner is a Digimon named Sparrowmon, but she's being controlled by Bagramon's little brother, Dark Knightmon. The armies are searching for the 108 pieces of the Code Crown, which allows its possessor to control the digital world completely. One big difference in the season is that Digivolution doesn't exist. I mean, it does, but not quite the way you'd imagine. Digivolution has never been exclusive to Digimon with partners. We've witnessed it before under extenuating circumstances, and it's implied that the higher level Digimon we see throughout the series reach that point by living particularly long or eventful lives. But in this universe, it's not just rare, it's unheard of. Digivolution is a long, gradual process that results from being especially old or especially battle-worn. Instead, Cross Wars introduces a concept called Digicross. It's very similar to DNA Digivolution or Fusion Digivolution, except instead of trying to create a new hybrid organism based on the original Fusees, Digicross is clearly inspired by Voltron, where all members are sort of stacked on top of each other. This introduces an interesting layer of strategy to the show because using different combinations of Digimon can be appropriate for different situations. For example, Shoutmon Cross 2 Plus is used for underwater fights, Shoutmon Cross 5 is used for air battles, and Shoutmon Cross 4B for high-speed situations. Some fusions only provide additional firepower, like creating swords or guns for other characters to use. The series also introduces Digimemories, 15 powerful warriors whose spirits were imprisoned in flash drive-like devices. Taiki can summon them into battle for short periods, but they take time to recharge once used. The first 30 episodes focus on a different themed zone for 2 or 3 episodes at a time, each with its own piece of the Code Crown. Taiki hops from zone to zone, fighting boss monsters and collecting pieces until he and his friends are sent back to the real world. They are followed by Tactimon, who feeds on the digital energy of the city. Shoutmon shocks everyone by super evolving into Omega Shoutmon. And as we've discussed, you'd be surprised too, because this basically amounts to time travel. After Tactimon is defeated, Akari and Zenjiro are left behind in the real world, while Taiki gets a wardrobe change and returns to the digital world. Bagramon has reformed the zones into 7 lands, and placed a general in each one. There, Taiki unites with Nene and Blue Flare to form Crossheart United, and Nene's little brother Yu combines Twilight with the Bagra army. Dark Knightmon betrays his brother, but it turns out that Bagramon predicted this and it only plays into his plan. This leads to a final battle for the Code Crown in the real world. The crown chooses Taiki as its master, allowing him to cross in every good-hearted Digimon in existence to form Shoutmon Cross 7's Superior Mode, who saves the day and heals both worlds. Taiki and company must return to Junior High, but their Digimon friends return home to crown Shoutmon their king and rebuild their world. This season, unlike its 2006 predecessor, embraces everything that made the previous seasons great and tells a story that's actually very similar to the original adventure. I love that fusion is the focus. I love that super evolved Digimon are covered in gold chrome. I love the characters. I love the environments. Maybe it's just because we hadn't seen a Digimon series in over 3 years, but this season really breathed fresh life into the franchise for me. If I had to pick a flaw, it's that it doesn't really understand its own theme. Remember how Season 3 was all about the real world and Season 4 was all about cell phones and trains? This season thinks it's about music, and that works on a design level. iPod, microphone, amplifier, guitar picks, but at no point does it feature in the plot. The plot is not about music. Taiki is an athlete, not a musician. And despite being a character themed around heavy rock, Shoutmon wants to be king, not a star. Cross Wars tries to attach meaning to digi-melodies, and tries to connect the mechanics of Digiworld to music, but why? Sometimes it even seems like they've given it up only for it to come back around later. Fortunately, the theme is utilized so little that you can ignore it completely and it won't hinder your understanding or enjoyment of the season. Consider it more of a visual style, I guess. Regardless, I feel like this season represents some of the best in the series, even with its limited characters. Come back next week when we cover this season's sequel, The Boy Hunters Who Leapt Through Time. Thanks for watching.
Hello, and welcome to this week's segment of Anime Academy. In this segment, we'll be discussing overpowered main characters and what they can do for a story. Overpowered main characters are a frequent sight in modern anime. They are often so powerful that the rest of the world's cast is weak in comparison. This trend seems to have started to gain traction with the release of One Punch Man. In One Punch Man, Saitama is the strongest person on Earth. He is never taken seriously due to his appearance and is frequently underestimated. This show paved the way for the idea of a main character that is overpowered. An overpowered main character often has different struggles than a normal character. A normal character's struggles are trying to catch up with their peers, or trying to be the best they can be. But when the character is already the best they can be, or even the best around, their struggles take a different form. Once again, in One Punch Man, Saitama's struggle is with being so powerful he is bored with life. He doesn't feel any joy from fighting monsters and saving people because it is too easy. He tends to often be seen as a joke, so when he applies to the Hero Association, he is put in Class C because they don't take him seriously despite his overwhelming physical scores. These type of problems aren't resolved with fighting battles or overcoming impossible odds. They are solved with changing the way the character thinks or how they see the world. Another example is Mob Psycho 100. In Mob Psycho, the main character is one of the most powerful espers in the whole city, but he doesn't get any happiness from this. Mob discovers that they are just a trait he has, so he focuses on improving other things like his physical abilities and his social skills. Mob discovers that he won't find happiness from his powers, and he tries to improve himself as a person instead. These types of shows often use personal struggles as an underlying theme. These types of shows prove that you don't need to stick to the formula of a normal shonen show. They are examples of how a story that is unique and different can be just as well written and successful if the right work is put in. This was Drew with Anime Academy. Thank you for watching.
Good evening and welcome to Taking a Bite with me, Katie. Last week I put The Reef up against Deep Blue Sea, and Deep Blue Sea was our winner. This week I will be putting Deep Blue Sea up against 47 Meters Down. Who will come out on top? That's what we are here to find out. 47 Meters Down follows sisters Lisa and Kate on their vacation to Mexico. The girls go out and meet two locals who invited them to go cage diving. They got to the dive spot and the captain put bait into the water. And moments later, the cable breaks. The cage falls to the bottom of the ocean 47 meters down. Kate swims up to try to get in contact with the boat. Once she does, they tell her to stay in the cage because there are sharks circling and they are going to send somebody down with a spare cord. They're both running out of air when they see a light in the distance. Lisa goes to look when a shark comes out of nowhere. The man they sent down shows up and takes Lisa back to the cage. He then gets attacked and killed. Lisa attached the spare cord to the cage and tells them to lift them up. This cord breaks, and then this time the cage lands on Lisa's leg. Kate goes up to tell them that Lisa is trapped. While this happened, Kate gets attacked by a shark. She gets away, but her blood is attracting more sharks. Lisa freed her leg and swims to Kate. They decide to swim to the surface. They realize they are surrounded by sharks and make a break for the surface. Lisa gets bit by a shark, but the shark frees her because she was trying to gouge its eyes out. Kate and Lisa get to the boat. Lisa realizes she is hallucinating and is still at the bottom of the ocean. The Coast Guard comes and brings Lisa to the surface. She realizes that her sister is not with her. Now, I like the idea of this movie. I mean, how do you go wrong being stuck at the bottom of the ocean with sharks? I just don't like how this movie starts out. I mean, the only reason they got into the cage was because one of the girl's ex-boyfriends said she was boring, and the whole time leading up until she got into the cage, she just kept talking about how she can't do it and how she's afraid. We get it, but we also know that you're going to get into the cage because if you don't, there's no point to this movie. Once the cage falls 47 meters down, it's just them talking with dark blue water surrounding them. The movie instantly gets better when the sharks appear. Of course, I just love sharks, so I always think that. The only thing is there really isn't a shark attack. I've said this before, what's a shark movie without at least one shark attack? The ending is what's most disappointing. How are you going to tell us that her and her sister getting back onto the boat safely is all a hallucination? Alright, it's that time again. It's time for another shark showdown. Deep Blue Sea versus 47 Meters Down. Who will be tonight's winner of the Shark Showdown? Can I get a drum roll, please? You all probably guessed it. The winner of this week's Shark Showdown is Deep Blue Sea. Even though 47 Meters Down has great CGI sharks, it just can't beat the cast and storyline of Deep Blue Sea. Tune in to Taking a Bite next week where I will be putting Deep Blue Sea up against Malibu Shark Attack.
Hello, and welcome back to Scary Movie 101. I'm your host, Bailey Ramsey, and today we'll be diving into the 2004 film Saw. The two main characters, Adam and Dr. Lawrence Gordon, wake up chained to pipes in an old beat-up bathroom, along with a dead body in the middle of the floor holding a gun and a cassette recorder. Both of them find an envelope in their pocket with their names written on them. Both of them have a cassette tape, and Lawrence also has a bullet and a key. The movie flashes back to what they were both doing before they were taken. They each remember more and more. The longer they are together, the more they find out about each other and how they are connected. After seeing a picture Adam took of Lawrence's home, he sees someone in the window that is not him. It ended up being someone Dr. Gordon works with at the hospital. Lawrence is furious and then gets a call from his wife and daughter. He hears gunshots in the background, causing him to have an emotional breakdown. He ends up cutting his foot off and escaping. He shoots Adam with his one bullet he had. His co-worker comes in and tells him he was too late, but Adam attacked him with the toilet lid, killing him. Once Lawrence leaves to get help, the guy they thought was dead got up and told Adam where the key was to unlock himself. Adam was in shock and tried to shoot him, but ended up being electrocuted and locked back in the dark room by himself. It's a different way of having a killer. John, who is the mastermind, also known as Jigsaw, doesn't really kill anyone. He pushes his victims to their limit, ending with killing one another or themselves. This movie is so unique compared to other scary movies. The co-writer Lee Winnell also played Adam in this film, along with the Saw short film. When Adam is in his apartment and the lights won't come on, he uses his camera's flash to see. I love this part. It's creative and creepy. Another part I enjoyed was the flashback to when the cops found Jigsaw's lair. On a table was the pig mask he used to kidnap Lawrence and Adam, along with a small box that has a setup of what his next kill would be, which has dolls of Adam, Lawrence, and himself in it. It added more to Jigsaw's character. He's a smart man that has a creative way for his victims to try to escape. I'm giving this movie 8 heebie-jeebies out of 10. The Jigsaw doll will always be creepy. It's something about a weird puppet riding on a tiny trike that does it for me. The movie had a wonderful plot and kept me interested in wanting to find out more. I definitely recommend watching this along with the other films in this series. Thank you for tuning in to Scary Movie 101. I'm Bailey Ramsier, and catch us next week when we get together with our favorite clown in It.
Thanks, guys! That's going to do it from Nerd Central Continued. You can check out all episodes of Nerd Central Continued, and all of the other KNWT shows by clicking right over here. Plus, you can check out this week's Nerd Central right here. See you next week!